All right, so welcome everybody. Today's class, we are focusing on Cobra and upward facing dog. So a little combo. And I like these two together because they are essentially the same pose, but in a more increasingly dramatic representation. So as we master Cobra, we have the opportunity to naturally start to extend into upward facing dog. That's the idea, is that you master Cobra first, and then Cobra gives you the ability to really be in up without stress or without strain. And so my thought for you with the concept of Cobra is that there's a story that I like that says that, you know, in the Hindu or the yogic mythology, it says that there's the serpent of knowledge, right, Sesha, who exists on that cosmic level. He's a serpent. And that he wants so badly to know what it's like to be embodied. He wants so badly to be in the world that Vishnu says, you know, great, like go take an embodiment. And so he does. He's born into the world, they say, as Patanjali. So Patanjali is the one who wrote, or who's credited as writing or putting together the Yoga Sutras, one of the, you know, foundational texts of how to work with your mind in meditation. So that wisdom, that cosmic wisdom, came with him into that embodiment. So what I like about this is that we have this idea of the cobra or the snake that is low to the ground, but that it's still bringing this cosmic wisdom into that reality, right? So there's nothing that's lost by coming into embodiment. There's nothing that's lost by being in human form, right? The wisdom is still there. So that's what we're asked to kind of do in these postures, is that it's a big back opening cobra and upward facing dog. It's a big expansive posture, right? And that's what the quality of wisdom is. It's expansion. It's being able to perceive things in a very big way and to understand things in a very big way. Right? So the attitude of the pose, again, is staying very grounded, staying close to the ground, but being expansive, right? Being able to be in both of those worlds at the same time, right? So that's the pose. That's my story for you. So let the eyes close for a moment. And that this is what we're learning, is how to stay very expanded in our perception, how to stay very expanded in our representation of the world, even though it might seem like things are very dense or very difficult. So I want you to breathe into your edges. So as you breathe and you're filling the lungs or you're filling the belly, I want you to feel that you're pushing up against that edge. And then you're relaxing away from it. And you're pushing up against that edge on the inhale, and then you're relaxing away from it. I want you to keep doing that. Do this with your breath every day until you come to a point where you no longer resent the fact that there is an edge to push against. We are no longer bothered by there being something there that you, as you expand, you press into it and then relax away. So whatever came with you from that space that is before that we're born, start to uncover that. Whatever great wisdom came with you. And then bring the hands to the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then start to do a little bit of cat-cow, seated cat-cow. So inhaling, lifting the chest up, exhaling, curling to round. So you're moving through the spine. And I want you to really focus on this concept that almost like that snake-like quality, that as you are moving through the spine, you're not just pushing your ribs forward and back, but that you're actually articulating each one of those vertebrae into the lift on the inhale, and then each vertebra is then folding back on itself to go into that rounded exhale. Good. So it should feel almost like you're doing your cat-cow sort of like a wave. Instead of a forward and a back, you're doing it like a wave. Good. And then I want you to start to add to that this feeling of circling your torso, so that as you inhale, you're lifting the chest forward as you rotate your ribs. And then as you exhale, you're rounding into the back body as you continue to rotate. And then inhaling, lifting forward, exhaling, curling back, letting the head go with you. Good. Nice. And then move yourself the other way. So change the direction of the rotation. That's the way I wanted to put it. Good. And again, you're looking for that whole length of your spine to be in that wave-like, snake-like motion. Nice. And then come to stillness, please. Nice job, you guys. Good. Roll forward onto hands and knees. Come into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Beautiful. And then step the right foot forward between the hands, please. Lunge. Good. Left hand stays on the floor or on a block, right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Nice. And then start to make big circles with that arm. So rotating the shoulder. So not just circles in the air, but bringing the arm all the way forward and around and back. Good. Nice. While keeping the hips steady, right? So Cobra is using the entire length of your spine and feeling your legs to be a part of the length of your spine, not separate from. Good. Take that arm back up to the sky, please. Good. Drop the back knee. Yep. Flex your right foot. Let your knee drop wide to the side. Lean onto that left hand a little bit more. Open the rib cage higher and then bend your right elbow and drag it back. Make a little claw with your hand. Pull back and lift your chest. Open, 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 open. Good. As the knee goes wide, pull your ribs in and open the shoulder. Yeah. Nice, Michelle. Good. And then come all the way back up, straighten the arm, release the foot, downward facing dog. Nice job. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Good. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. No, we're not coming straight into Cobra. Nice try. But all the way down to your belly. Stretch your arms, reaching back towards your feet. Arms straight. Good. Forehead to the floor, pressing through the front of your pelvis. Float your legs up off of the floor. Yeah. And then pressing your hands into the floor. Lift the tops of your shoulders up. So begin to lift the chest. Head, neck, and chest, but keep pushing the hands into the floor. Good. Now pull your heels away from your armpits and your armpits away from your heels. Good. And then push through the crown of your head. Nice. Good. And then release, please. Plant the hands, press back up to hands and knees. Nice job. Take your right leg back behind you, up in line with your hip. Good. Walk the left fingertips forward to straight. Take balance. Yeah. So same concept here that you just did on the floor as you're pulling that right thigh in, but you're reaching out. So you're pulling the ankle and the armpit away from each other. Good. Nice, you guys. Pull your ribs up and in. Nice. And now bend your right knee, kick your heel in, take your left hand behind your head. Don't reach for the foot. Good. Press your head back up into your hand. Nice. And kick that thigh higher. And now pull your ribs in. Really good, Kristen. Awesome. Go ahead and stretch everything all the way back out. Extend. Nice. And then release back to hands and knees. Good. Try the second side. Take the left leg back behind you. Walk the right arm forward towards straight. Good. Balance. Yeah. Left toes turn down towards the floor. There you go. Nice, you guys. You have to feel this feeling that your ribs are drawing up. So even though your back is coming into sort of a natural little back bend here, resist it. Draw your ribs up. Good. And then bend your left knee. Kick your heel in. Take your right hand behind your head. Press up through the back of your throat. Good. Nice. And kick that thigh higher. Squeeze the heel in. Good. Nice, you guys. Heart up, heart up, heart up. Drag back on your left hand. So it's like your chest is still coming forward. That's it. Good. And then extend everything back out, lengthen. Beautiful. Back to hands and knees, please. Come back, downward facing dog. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Yep. Right hand stays on the floor or a block, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Nice. And then start to make big circles with that left arm. So reaching over the top of the head, all the way around through the front of the body. Nice. So the legs, again, keeping that heavy quality of pressing into the earth. So press through your left heel. Yeah, let the hips really go deep into the lunge, but then stay light in the upper body. Good. And then take that arm straight up to the sky. Good. Drop the back knee, please, to get a little closer to the floor. Flex your left foot. Let the knee start to drop wide. Lean onto that right hand a little more. Rotate that right shoulder back, the arm that's holding you. Rotate it back. Good. And then start to bend the arm in the air, the left arm. Squeeze it back as you lean onto the right fingertips. Open your chest more and let your left thigh fall out to the left more. So you're making space between the ribs and the thigh. Good. And then come all the way back up, extending the arm. Good. Lift the back knee, downward facing dog. Nice. Slide forward to plank pose. Good. Pause there for a moment. Squeeze the hands and the feet towards each other. Come up on your right fingertips. Yeah, without letting your weight fall behind your wrists. And then bring that hand back down flat. Take your chest forward a little bit more with the hands flat. Good. From there, come up on your left fingertips. Don't shift back into your feet. Good. And then release that hand back down. Nice job. Take your knees to the floor so you're on hands and knees. Grab one of your blocks and place it between your shins or between your ankles. Good. Probably it's medium width, so not its widest. Good. And then come onto your belly so that you have that block between your legs lying on your belly, between your shins lying on your belly. Good. Arms reach back towards your feet, palms facing down. Good. Same thing that you did before. You're coming into locust pose. So you're squeezing the shins towards that block. Good. And then you're starting to lift the legs up off the floor. Keep squeezing the block. Good. And pull the ankles back away from the pelvis. And now draw that low space of the belly in and up. Drag your tail towards your heels. Press into your fingertips. Begin to lift head, neck, and chest. Pull your arm bones forward. Pull your armpits forward. Good. Press into your fingertips to lift your chest. Good. So I want you to feel the difference between what you're doing with your back and what you're doing with your arms. Good. And that squeeze of the legs is huge in Cobra, huge in upward facing dog. So squeeze and then lengthen, pull. Good. And then release it all the way back down. Nice job. Good. Bend the knees, please. Plant the hands, press up to hands and knees. So that didn't make any sense. I said bend the knees. I meant for you to push your knees into the floor and come up to hands and knees. Good job. Right leg comes back and up behind you. Good. Left arm walks forward to straight. Take your balance. Good. So same thing here. Bend the right knee, kick your heel, and this time go ahead, reach back for the foot or the ankle. Good. And as you find it, I want you to have that same feeling that you are pulling your ankle and your armpit away from each other. And as they pull away from each other, you're pulling your rib cage in. You're drawing your tail towards your heel. Good. Nice, nice, nice. Then you're extending through the crown of your head, long throat. Aha. Awesome. And then release, stretch everything all the way back out. And then back to hands and knees. Good. Try the other side. Left leg comes up and back. Good. Right arm walks forward. Balance. Nice. Bend the left knee, kick your heel in. Lift that thigh though. Don't forget that part, that you still have to work through the legs before you just reach back with the shoulder, and then take the hand back to reach for the foot or the ankle. Good. And then once you have that hold, you're drawing the ankle and the armpit away from each other. And then you're lifting the chest forward and drawing your tail towards your heel. So don't lose for a second that feeling of expansion, that feeling of I'm still pushing against those edges, whatever those edges happen to be. I'm breathing into the whole vessel. I'm pushing into the whole experience. Good. Or I'm expanding into the whole experience. Nice. And then reach all the way back out, arm and leg. Good. And back to hands and knees. Nice, you guys. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Right foot steps forward between the hands, please. Good. Drop the back heel to 45 degrees, warrior one. So back heel comes to an angle, arms to the sky. Good. So again, this combination of the legs are moving into that very grounded place, the lunge pose, pelvis moving forward, but chest lifts up. So there's a subtle back bend that happens in warrior one, right? So the top of your pelvis has to pull up here, and then cross your wrists overhead and turn your palms to face each other, and then bend your elbows wide. Good. So you're pushing the hands into each other and you're bending the elbows out wide. And as the elbows bend, you're lifting your chest up like you're going to push the crown of your head up into your hands. Good. So you're back bending, but you're not losing length by pushing your ribs forward. You're pulling up, elbows wide. Nice. And then let your front thigh go a little deeper into that warrior one. Very good. Nice, Susan. Awesome. And then release, stretch the arms straight back behind you. So don't clasp the hands, just stretch the arms straight back behind you. Yeah, all the way back, reaching all the way back, like you're hugging a block behind you, palms facing towards each other. There you go. Press together as though you're going to reach for your hands. And then spin your back heel up, please. Good. Bow forward like you're doing that bowing high lunge, but keep squeezing the hands towards each other. Keep rotating your arm bones up. Yeah, so it's the same way you would do it if your hands were clasped. You're just not holding your hands. Good. Hug those upper arms. Rotate your arm bones up and back, chest wide. Good. And then hands down to the floor. Nice job. Step back, down dog split. Take your right leg to the sky. Good. And then come up on your left fingertips, please. Yep. So right leg is up, left fingertips up. Beautiful. And then release that hand down to the floor, release the foot to the floor. Nice job. Drop the knees to the floor. Grab your blocks, please. Place your blocks in front of you. So you're coming into child's pose with your elbows resting on the blocks. So you're placing your blocks flat on the floor. Good. And your arms are going to be in front of you. Good. Place the elbows, the tips of the elbows on the blocks, palms up in prayer position, maybe over the head. If the palms can't come together, that's fine. Good. But the upper arms are hanging off of the block, of each block. You got it. You're there, Kristen. And if you don't have two blocks, you can absolutely do this with the floor. This is also a position you could do if you have a wall. You can press your forearms into the wall and walk your feet back until you have that same feeling of stretch on the upper back. Can sometimes be actually more effective with the wall. Good. Well, you need this whole length of the spine, side body, back body to be really open for upward facing dog to be a possibility. So not just mastering Cobra, but with the intention of there being the greatest expansion you can come into with your spine. We got to open the armpits, upper shoulders, upper back. So relax the heart towards the floor. Good. And then slowly come on up, please. Place your blocks to the side. Downward facing dog. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Drop your back heel to 45 degrees and then take the arms up to the sky. Warrior one. Good. Cross the wrists overhead again. If you can remember which one was in front before, put the other one in front. Turn the palms towards each other and then pressing the hands together, bend your elbows out wide. Good. And let that bending of the elbows be what pulls your chest up, because this is the action of Cobra, right? Is that we actually use that engagement of your armpits, right? The muscles at the armpits and the lower shoulder blades drag towards the hips to lift the chest. And this is Cobra, right? And we should be able to do that without having to push the hands into the floor, but it's helpful to be able to push them into something. Good. Let the front thigh go a little deeper. So we're using that pressure, right, to open more. That's the truth of embodiment, is that we use what pushes against us to become more open. Good. And then release the arms, please. Stretch the arms straight back behind you. Spin your back heel up. So again, you're reaching back behind you as though you have a block between your hands. Squeeze the upper arms, palms facing each other. And then bow the torso forward, parallel to the floor. Good. And then even lower if you'd like, but stretch those arms up just like you would if you had your fingers interlaced. Just keep squeezing, keep hugging, right? Learn the power of your back, even when you don't have the usual thing that locks you into this position. Good. That's our wisdom, right? When we're not locked into something because that was our only choice, is we really understand this is how I stay true to who and what I am. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice jobs. Take that left leg up and back, down dog split. All right, your cosmic wisdom, the wisdom that you brought into this lifetime. You didn't lose it along the way. Good. Left leg is lifted. Come up on your right fingertips. So the opposite hand. So again, you're getting that sense of right and left side balance. Good. Equality. Release the hand, release the foot. Beautiful. Slide forward to plank pose. Good. Drop the knees down to the floor in plank. So let your hips come slightly forward. So you're in like a modified push-up position. So your hips should be in front of your knees, but still with that plank torso. Good. And then you're going to bend your elbows out wide, right? Not the way we usually do chaturanga. I want you to bend your elbows straight out to the side, wide like a push-up, and lower your chest towards the floor and keep the back of your throat lifted. And then push all the way back up. Nice. Do it one more time like that. Elbows wide, lower down. Good. And then press back up. Nice. Now bend the elbows just a little bit and start to squeeze them in towards your side ribs, a more traditional chaturanga. So squeeze those arms back, elbows back, and lower the chest towards the floor. Good. So the elbows stay close to the ribs here, and then press up. And then do one more like that, lower down, elbows close to your ribs, and press up. All right, one more. Bring your hands together so the tips of your thumbs and your pointer fingers come together. So your hands are still underneath your chest, but now they're in this like triangle Hershey kiss position. Good. Yeah, you're going to do that same push-up in this position. So move your shoulders forward, move your hips forward, elbows bend straight out to the side here. Elbows bend and push the floor away. Good. One more. Bend the elbows. Feel your back and press up. Nice. And then press back to child's pose. Good. Don't curse my name, please. So every one of those, again, arm positions, hand position changes, right? The relationship of what muscles in your arm and your shoulders and your back are being activated. So again, for Cobra and upward facing dog, we have to have a strength to our upper back. It's not just about how flexible our spine is. It's about how well those muscles of the back are able to really hold you. Walk your torso to the right, over your right thigh. Right? That concept of the snake, right? Snake has no arms. So how does it raise itself up into that upright position with no arms? You say, well, it's built that way. Okay. Well, your spine is built with a lot of strength involved too. We don't always know how to use it. Walk yourself to the other side, please. So because we use our arms in Cobra, and we use our arms in upward facing dog, we have to have a strength to the arms, and we have to have a strength to the upper back. And that's a part that we forget in yoga a lot. We don't like to do the strengthening part. Come back to center, because that means a lot of plank and things like that. Good. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Good. Take your right leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Keep the knee pointing straight down. Lift that heel. Now look slightly forward, pull your arms up into your shoulders. So pull your lower armpits, your shoulder blades towards your hips, and lift your collarbones up, arch into that upper spine. Drag back on your hands, still squeeze. Good. Ribs in, but push that thigh higher. Lift the back of your throat. So find that scorpion position. Good. Back of the heart reaching up towards your heel. Nice. Hips pull back. Yeah. Nice. Drop the head, please. Stretch that leg back and up behind you. Nice. And then step the foot forward between the hands. Good. Walk your fingertips straight ahead. Step up, standing split. Blocks underneath the hands. Great idea. Good. It's a long, long thigh. So why all of these positions with the leg up in the air? Because I want you to be very aware of the strength required in your lower back, as well as the legs being integrated into the rest of your torso. So pull that left hip in, but lift the thigh higher. There you go. And then for fun, left hand stays on the floor or a block. Take your right arm to the sky, revolved Urdhva Chandrasana. And I know it's not fun. Just kidding. It's a fun pose, but it's a hard pose. Press your inner thighs wide. Yeah, so this is about the strength and the flexibility of your back. Good. Release the hand down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Step all the way back. Nice long lunge. Drop the back knee. Asana. Inhale the arms to the sky. Use a blanket under the knee if you need. Lift the arms. Wow. Good. And then take your palms together if you can. Bend the elbows. Take the hands to the back of your head, to that prayer position with the heels of the hands at the back of the head. Squeeze those elbows towards each other. Lift your chest up, 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 up. Rotate from the shoulder blades. Press the head into the hands into the head. Chest up and pelvis forward. Belly in. Yeah. And then come all the way back up. Reach the arms to straight and hands to the floor. Good, you guys. Downward facing dog. Good. Take it forward to plank pose. Lower down to your belly. Right? Starting to notice how habitually you're like, this would be Cobra pose now. Take your arms, reach straight back towards your feet. Remember what it was like to have the block between your shins. Engage your shins that way. Float your legs up off the floor. Good. Press into your fingertips. Lift the front of the body, head, neck, and chest up off the floor. And then once you found that lift, go ahead and float the hands up as well. So take that pressure away. So now you just have the pressing of the front of the pelvis and the belly into the floor to help you to keep lifting through your spine. So like that wave action is you're not just pushing your ribs forward, is that it's every vertebra on every breath is doing that little bit of a wave. So you should feel yourself moving just a little bit, bobbing slightly forward and back. Good. And then release. Nice. Press back to downward facing dog. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, knee points down, lift that heel a little higher. Press into the hands, drag back with your arm bones up into the shoulder socket. Lift your chest forward. Good. Back of the heart rises up. So those shoulder blades are tipping in to lift the chest. Pull the hips back in space and lift that thigh. Good. So it's finding flexibility of your back, but also strength because you got to hold yourself in down dog. Good. And then drop the head, stretch the legs straight back behind you, down dog split, and then step the left foot between the hands. Good job. Good. Walk your fingertips straight ahead, step up, standing split. Right leg parallels the floor. Good. And again, power of your lower back here and how it's connected with your legs. So as you're lifting through that inner thigh, don't let that right hip fly open. Keep the hip point facing down. Good. And feel that there's a lengthening of your armpit away from your hip so your upper spine is not collapsing. Nice. And then right hand is underneath the right shoulder. Take your left arm to the sky, revolved Urdhva Chandrasana. That hand can come to your hip or your lower back instead of to the sky if you want. Good. Keep your low belly engaged, you guys. Push your hips to the sky. Nice, Michelle. You got it. And then release that hand to the floor. Good. Step all the way back. Nice long lunge. Drop the back knee. Asana. Inhale the arms to the sky. Good. And again, palms together. Bend the elbows. Take the heels of the hands to the back of the head. Beautiful. Hug those inner elbows in just a little bit and then lift your collarbones up, 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 up. Point your chest to the sky. Let your pelvis move slightly forward and then scoop your belly and lift those ribs. Head falls back into the hands. Good. And then come all the way back up. Stretch the arms to the sky and release the hands down. Nice. Lift the back knee. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. on your belly, point the toes back behind you, stretch your arms back, interlace your fingers at your sacrum. Good. Bend your elbows. So you're again pulling the armpits up towards the top of your mat. Hug the upper arms towards each other, and then start to straighten the arms again, reaching your hands towards your feet, but keep your armpits pulling forward. So again, there's resistance. Good. Press through the front of the pelvis, float the legs up off the floor, and then lift head, neck, and chest from your armpits. Maybe even lift those hands up off of the lower back if there is that potential. Good. So it's not just about how long you can get. It's about how can I lift from my armpits? How can I find rotation on my shoulders? Good. And you're still breathing. You're breathing into the edges of the pose. Nice. And then release. Good job, you guys. Take your arms out. Take your arms actually in front of you into Sphinx pose. So come up on your forearms. And press down and drag back. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, the back of your mat. Good. And then the option here, again, I want you to press your feet down into the floor. The option here is to start to, maybe you'll have to move your elbows slightly forward for this, but to start to press into your hands and to lift the elbows up off of the floor. Good. So coming to more of a straight armed stretch. Again, with the feet wide, it's a little bit more release on the lower back. Good. And it might not feel good to do it. So again, your innate wisdom, if it feels like it's not the right thing for your spine, don't straighten the arms. Good. And then come on back down to your elbows. Awesome. And then lower all the way down, forehead to the floor. Make a pillow with your hands. Rest. Wiggle the hips from side to side. Good. There's something about that story, right? That if you were a representation of cosmic wisdom, right? You're a being that knows everything. Cosmic knowledge. And what's the thing that you really, really want? You want to be human. You want to be in a place where we forget what we know. We act like we don't know better. You want to be in a place where there's feeling, where that wisdom is put into practice, into action. Because to be in the cosmic place, right, is that there's no interpretation, there's no relationship, there just is. So it's funny to remember that there's a desire that is built into being human. And that desire, while it can get us into trouble, is not always a problem, because it's also what's going to lead us to wisdom. You didn't lose anything coming into a body. Good. Walk your hands back, please, alongside your ribs. Plant the hands. Move your hands a little bit wider, though, so that your hands are off of the mat. Come up on fingertips. And then send your elbows forward. Yeah, so the front of your arm bones are going to feel like they're rolling forward. Now, as you press down into your feet, so bring your feet a little closer if they're still as wide as your mat. Pretend that there's that block between them, again, so you have a squeezing in, but there's still space. And then pressing into the fingers from your back, start to round up into that Cobra position. Notice I said round into it. So pull the rib cage back so that you get that wave action, that you round first. And then you start to lift and lift and lift and lift and lift as you set your shoulder blades. Keep your elbows spinning forward and keep lifting. Pull the throat long. And then let yourself sway from side to side. Do a little twisting. Nice. My favorite is that we can either call this ecstatic Cobra, where you are really in the fullness of the experience and enjoying it, or we can call it drunken Cobra, where you don't know where you are or what you're doing. You have the ability to do both. Good. And then come back to stillness. Slowly release the spine back down to the floor. Rest again. Breathe. You can make a pillow with your hands or just have the arms alongside you. Good. So cosmic wisdom in human form. right? That the wisdom of our lives, right? So we might not know ourselves to be a cosmic serpent or something lofty like that, but the wisdom of our lives is understanding our desires. What do you desire to be? What do you desire to do? What do you desire to see in the world? And then you breathe into the edges of that. You expand into the edges of that. And even when you have something to push against or that's pushing against you, no resentment. You let it bring you to a place that is a little wiser. Good. Walk your hands back alongside your ribs. Plant the hands. Good. A little closer to the ribs this time. Good. Trying to find the place where your elbows are right on top of your wrists. So you might have to walk your hands back a little bit more than you are used to. Good. And then you're pressing down into your hands, and I want you to feel like you are dragging yourself forward on the floor. So before you lift anything, press down and drag back on the hand. So it's like you're literally going to slither along the floor. Good. And then there's a block between your shins. Good. And press into your feet. Now, again, begin to articulate the spine up. So rounding first into those low ribs, and then start to lift and lift and lift and lift and lift, hugging the lower armpits. So you can hug the elbows, but even better to hug those muscles at your lower armpits. Good. And you're dragging back on the hands more than you're pushing straight down, and chest up. Nice. Throat long. Good. And then release back down to your belly. Awesome. Take another little break, forehead to the floor or hands underneath the head. Good. Separate your feet as wide as your mat. Good. In front of you, cross your right arm in front of your left. Right arm in front of your left. Yep. And then you're rolling onto your left hip. As you roll onto your left hip, take your right arm back behind you. So you're coming into spinal twist. Keep your feet just as wide, touching either side of your mat. You got it. Good. Again, you're breathing that connection from the armpit to the hip. Throwing your blocks out of the way. Nice. Good. If we over grip any of the muscles in Cobra or upward facing dog, as we might feel it, you might feel it tomorrow anyway, just doing a lot of work in your back. Your back's not used to it. You might feel it tomorrow. But if we over grip instead of being focused on really extending, then we don't enjoy the pose. We don't enjoy what we just did. We say, I'm not sure I want to do that again. Come on back to center, please, back to your belly. Then move to the other side of the twist. So left arm over top of right in front of your chest. And then you're rolling onto your right hip, bringing the left arm back behind you, spinal twist. And again, if the arm can't comfortably come all the way back, then you can stretch it up alongside your ear. That's fine. Remembering that feeling of, I desire to be in this lifetime, whatever it comes with. I wanted to be here. And if I destroy my sense of enjoyment of this lifetime, then what have I learned? So your wisdom, understand your desires. Good. Slowly come on back to center, back to your belly. Back up to Sphinx pose, please. Forearms underneath your shoulders. Good. Tuck your toes. Look towards your belly button. Again, articulate, round into your back body. Good. And then start to lift the thighs up, please, coming into a forearm plank. Good. Again, feeling those muscles around the armpits, around the ribs. Now, once you've come up into that forearm plank, press down, drag back on your forearms again, drag back on your elbows, lift your collarbones up. Good. Those shoulder blades are drawing down into the back to lift your chest up. Squeeze your feet and your elbows towards each other. Good. Now start to walk your feet forward, lift your hips, come into a forearm dog. Good. That same feeling though, as you walk your feet in, as you're squeezing your feet and your elbows towards each other. Good. And pull back on the hips. Yes. Nice, Kristen. Good. Susan, lift your right hip a little higher and drop that left hip forward. There you go. Nice, you guys. And then walk it back forward to plank pose, or walk your feet back, forearm plank. I know, not the easy transition. Good. Knees to the floor, please. Press back, child's pose. Yeah, so you will feel your back tomorrow. I can promise you that. But better to feel your back than to forget that you have power there. Better to feel your edges than to think that there's nothing holding you steady. Beautiful. All right, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward between the hands. Walk your fingertips forward again, step up, standing split. Yeah. Right hand stays on the floor or a block. I'm sorry, what leg do you have lifted up there? Left leg up. So left hand stays on a block, I'm sorry, right arm to the sky, revolved Ardha Chandrasana. And then bend that left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, reach back to find the foot or the ankle. If you can't, if that's just not available, then keep the hand either behind the head or take your hand to your lower back, but open the shoulder. Kick that foot back against your hand. Yeah. Nice, you guys. And then slowly extend it all the way back out. Beautiful. And then release the hand to the floor, step all the way back, nice long lunge. Drop that back knee to the floor, please. Good. Walk your hands up to your front thigh. If you don't have a cushion underneath your back knee, you might want one. You're going to do a little quad stretching. So if you want cushion there, make sure you have it. Good. Yeah. And so the pelvis is moving forward in Anjaneyasana. And you're going to bend your back knee and you're going to reach back, twisting quad stretch. So the right hand is reaching for your left ankle. So you can absolutely have your left hand on a block if you need, or you can bring it to that front thigh. And again, add the resistance. Press your foot back against your hand, drag that left knee down and forward, lift your low belly. Good. Maybe you can take that left arm to the sky alongside your ear. Good. Yep, you got it, Michelle. Nice, Susan. Nice, Steve. Awesome. And then slowly release, please. Good job. Back to center. Good. Lift that back knee up off the floor. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana. Yeah. So we're working just a lot of the lengthening of the whole body, right? So the twisting action is really nice because it opens up, again, the rotation, the flexibility of the spine. And then that straight forward and back, right? The length of the spine as well as the legs, because the legs are what stops us a lot in back bending. If your legs are tight, your quads are tight, your thighs are tight, it's going to be very difficult for you to get into those larger extensions, those longer extensions. Good. So again, because we're looking at already mastering that sense of Cobra and allowing it to become upward facing dog. So you got to leave space for you to grow into. In your mind, you got to leave space for you to grow into. Don't decide everything. Good. One more breath. Nice. And then bend that right knee, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like. So the traditional vinyasa, sliding forward to plank pose, lowering down to your belly, rising up cobra. How do you come into your cobra now? What do you remember? Good. And then downward facing dog. Nice job. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Walk your fingertips straight ahead. Step up, standing split. Good. Again, strength of the lower back. Thigh has to lift itself. Good. And then right hand stays on the floor, left arm to the sky, revolved Ardha Chandrasana. Good. And then you're bending the left knee, kick your heel in, reach back, try to find the foot or the ankle. You got to really set that left shoulder up and wide. So you got to turn your ribs. So even if you're not holding the foot, hand to your lower back, open. Yeah. And then pull that left thigh crease up and back so that your hips are still facing forward. Awesome. And then extend all the way back out. Good. Release the hand to the floor, please. Step way back to lunge. Drop the back knee to the floor. Anjaneyasana. Arms to the sky or up to the front thigh. Good. A little bit of fun if you feel pretty comfortable in Anjaneyasana. If you want to play with bending the back knee, squeezing your heel into that quad stretch with no hands. So bend the knee, squeeze your heel in, no hands. Nice job. Then reach back with the left hand to find the foot or the ankle. Good. And again, right hand can stay on the thigh, or maybe it can come up alongside the ear. Good. Use your resistance well. Push that foot into the hand and use that as the way that you help to lift that left hip point or right hip point up higher. Good. Let your pelvis move forward and your chest lift up. Beautiful. Nice, Michelle. And then slowly release, please. Hands down to the floor. Good job. Lift that back knee. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parsvottanasana. Good. Nice. Right. When your legs become part of your torso, you're not separating them. They can either empower a back bend or they can be dead weight. So we want them to be something that is powerful, that doesn't drag on the spine, but actually makes the spine feel more vibrant, relieves pressure. Right? The way that we walk habitually, the way that we stand habitually pulls on the spine. So how do we free up the spine? We got to free up our legs. How do we free up our life? We got to free up our habits. Good. And then bend that front knee, please. Come back to downward facing dog. Nice. Slide forward to plank pose. Yeah. And I want you to start here to just bend your elbows a little bit. Yeah, drop your pelvis a little bit, but keep lifting those inner shins, and then start to lift your heart forward and up like that scorpion position. So a little sort of upward dog. Pull your chest up, up. And then really still press back through those heels. Don't let the knees touch the floor, Steve. Yeah, good. And then scoop your belly, drop your head, press back downward facing dog. Nice. And then bring the knees down to the floor, please. Good. Take your right leg in front of your left, your right knee in front of your left. Separate your feet and then walk yourself back so you are sitting between your heels. You can put a block there if you need. So go Mukha legs. Good. And that's great, Kristen. You can do it on your back. Good. Nice, you guys. And then fingertips either come back behind you, sitting up nice and tall, or if folding forward is possible here, fold forward. Good. So a little bit of release. Because if we're always just extending, we're going to get exhausted. We're going to get overextended. And creates a painful experience, a not pleasant experience. So I like the legs here. It's like that coiled snake. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. And switch the legs. So if you're on your back, you can just switch where you are. Good. If you're seated, you can unwind your legs however you'd like. And then take the left leg on top of the right, stacking the knees, separate the feet, and sit back between them. Good. And same thing, if you're seated, either fingertips behind you, leaning back and lifting the chest, or forward folding over the legs if that's available. If you're folding forward, keep your feet flexed. Good. Either way, keep your feet flexed, but especially if you're folding forward. Nice. So wisdom comes from experience. That's what this story of Seisha really tells us, is that you can know everything, have access to all knowledge, all interpretation, all understanding, and it doesn't really cause any feeling unless there's experience, unless there's relationship. So that great craving is for that wisdom to find its way into form. All he wanted was to be human. Even though it comes with what it comes with. So as human beings, we reach for that level of cosmic knowledge. We say that we want it, but the only way to find it is through experience. So you breathe into your edges. Whatever you're pushing against or is pushing against you. Become wiser, not wider, but wiser. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Unwind your legs. Nice. Roll forward to hands and knees. And then grab your blocks again if you have 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, that's fine. But if you have 2 blocks, place them down flat and take your hands onto the blocks. You're going to come into downward facing dog, hands on the blocks. Yep. So make sure that your blocks are as wide apart as your hands normally would be in down dog. Good. And if your hands are not flat on the blocks, you can. Some people do this thing where they kind of let the heels of their hands like rest on the edges of their blocks. It's whatever feels stable. Good. Beautiful. So you've got a little bit more length to your spine, and then bring yourself forward towards plank pose again. Beautiful. And then you're going to bend your elbows out wide, hands on the blocks. Good. And then as your chest lowers and you squeeze your elbows in towards your side ribs, lift through those inner shins, and then send your chest forward with the elbows bent. Send your chest forward, forward, forward. Start to find that cobra back bend. And then start to push the arms to straight. Don't let yourself fall to the floor. Good. Push into the blocks, chest up, 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 and really stretch through the inner shins. You can point the toes if that feels comfortable. Nice. And then scoop your belly, drop your head, lift your hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Good. Try it one more time. Bring yourself forward towards plank. Bend your elbows out wide so you get the full width of your chest engaged, and then squeeze the elbows in, engage those lower armpits. With the chest low, start to lean forward more and pull those collarbones up, up, up as the shoulder blades drag in. Pull your belly in, hips drop, and then start to push the arms to straight as you pull your armpits back. Again, you're dragging yourself along the floor. Really nice. And then go ahead, drop the head, scoop your belly, downward dog, drop to your knees, child's pose. Yeah, so that initial position of Cobra, right? That 90-degree angle that we talk about with your wrist directly underneath your elbow. We master that first with the spine or with the legs on the floor. And then as the back begins to support that back bend, we push into the arms, that same orientation. The arms just go straight. So they're straight underneath the shoulders. Go ahead, walk yourself back up, please. Take your feet in front of you. So the blocks are helpful with that. If your back is still kind of learning its mastery of cobras, the blocks give you a little bit more space to play with, finding the back bend without being so close to the floor. Feet out in front of you, bend your knees, plant your feet, hands behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. Bend your elbows just a little bit. Hug the upper arms. Yeah. Yep. Chest up. And then press into your feet, please. Start to press the arms to straight, lifting through your chest even more. Take your hips up, reverse table. Good. So this is almost like doing Cobra in reverse. So can you find that same feeling of stretch through the front of your body, through the back of your body? Separate your feet just a little bit, Susan. That's it. Nice. And then release the hips down to the floor. Good job. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees drop wide. You will feel your backs tomorrow. It's all right. Good. Bow forward. Bhujangasana. right? Back bending. You say energetically, it's an uplifting experience, right? It's the ecstatic reaching. But it's an ecstatic reaching that has to come from the tips of our toes. So from the very lowest parts of us, there has to be participation. Otherwise, that ecstasy isn't complete. We don't get it. Come all the way back up to sit. Keep the knees wide. Take your right arm over top of your left in front of your chest. Wrap the forearms for eagle. You got it. And then a deep breath in, lift the elbows just a little bit, and then exhale, round in, dig the elbows down towards the belly, round into your back. Good, soften the shoulders away from the ears, long throat. Good, and then come all the way back up. Inhaling, lifting the elbows just a little bit. Exhaling, drawing in and down around your back. Good. Every little bit that you do, that you create this articulation of your spine, is going to help you in Cobra, upward dog, any back bend. One more time, come all the way up. Inhaling, lifting the elbows. And exhaling, curling in, elbows in and down as you round and up into your back like you're over a beach ball. Good. And then come all the way back up to center. Please stretch your arms out wide. Good. Do a little turn your palms up towards the sky. Turn your palms to face back, push the air away. Turn your palms to face up. Turn your palms to face back, push the air away. Turn your palms to face up, palms face back, push the air away. Good. And then cross the other arm on top. So left arm on top of right, maybe. Okay. Good. And then same thing, little inhale, lift the elbows just a little bit, and then exhaling, bringing the elbows down and in, around into the back. And if Baddha Konasana is no longer a comfortable position to be seated in, any cross-legged seat is fine. Good. And then inhaling, lifting the elbows back up, chest back up. And exhaling, curling in, drag the elbows in, round the back. Good. And if a cross-legged seat doesn't work for you, any stable seat is fine. One more time, coming back up straight, inhaling the elbows up and exhaling, curling in. Nice. And then coming all the way back up, stretch the arms out wide. Again, just rotating, turning the palms up and then turning the palms to face back, push the air away. Turn the palms to face up, turn the palms to face back, push the air away. Palms up. Palms back, push the air away. And then right arm in front of left, give yourself a hug. Squeeze. And then arms go wide, hug with the other arm on top, squeeze. Nice. And then go ahead and release the arms, please. Roll forward or move forward onto your butt so you can come onto your back. Scoot forward on your mat, come onto your back. Good. So my suggestion here is what I would love for you to do is to be able to come into plow. So if that is available, so not necessarily holding in shoulder stand, but taking the legs up and overhead. So you're in an inverted forward fold, if that is possible. So legs overhead, toes to the floor above the crown of the head. Good. If that's not possible, hanging out on your back, come into happy baby. And lift the shoulders up and just really try and wrap the arms around the lower legs if plow is not possible. Good. Again, the idea here, you guys, is you're stretching out through the legs, but I want you to feel the length of your spine. Good. Pressing into the tops of the shoulders. So again, that kind of reverse Cobra action is you want the spine to be flexible in both directions, all directions. Not just how do I back bend, but how do I be able to be in any position and still breathe very expansively, be very expansive. Good. If your feet are comfortably on the floor, separate your feet a little wider, bend your knees, letting the knees drop alongside the ears any amount. Again, keep your hips lifted so that you can still breathe. Good. Nice. And then start to straighten the legs again. Slowly roll down the spine, one vertebra at a time, coming all the way back down, hips finding the floor, bend your knees. Awesome. And then right knee stays pulled in towards your chest. Extend the left leg out down to the floor. Good. Hold behind the right thigh. Extend your heel up towards the ceiling. Good. Pushing against the hands. So push the thigh against the hands. Feel more of your lower back anchoring to the floor because you're using that resistance. Good. And then go ahead, come into spinal twist here. Bring that leg across the body. If you can keep the leg straight, that is my suggestion. But if the knee is more comfortable bent, or the leg is more comfortable bent, you can certainly bend the knee. Good. And again, right arm, if it's not comfortable, out to the side, you can take the arm up alongside the ear. Be realistic with your shoulders. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bend that knee again, come back to center. Good. And then send the right leg down to the floor. Pull the left knee in towards the chest. Hold behind the thigh. Extend the heel up towards the ceiling. Hamstring stretch. Not just a hamstring stretch, but push the thigh into your hands. Good. As your thigh pushes into your hands, push your low back down to the floor. Again, staying close to the ground gives you a lot of sense of reality, perspective. Be realistic with your body. Be realistic in understanding what your desires are and what they aren't. Good. Take that leg across the body, spinal twist. Again, keeping it straight if you can, but if you prefer to bend it, absolutely do that too. The left arm, if being wide doesn't feel comfortable, take the arm up. If it feels like it's causing strain, I should say that, because discomfort is not necessarily a problem, but strain is not helpful. Good. And then slowly bend the knee. Come on back to center, please. Good. Squeezing both knees in towards your chest. Come back to where you have the right thigh stacked on top of the left. Separate your feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Low back presses to the floor. And again, you're breathing into the edges of the pose. You're breathing into the edges of the experience, whatever those happen to be. Good. And then release and switch. Take the other leg on top. And then slowly release, hugging the knees in towards the chest. Good. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees, hug. Pressing into the spine, pressing back into the spine. Good. And then slowly release the shoulders. Please stretch your legs out in front of you. Let the feet drop open, arms alongside you, palms up. Shavasana. The ocean of consciousness. So we fall into that when we are no longer identifying with the physical here and now. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath, letting the body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest, roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away, come back to an upright, seated position. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We say often that, your human experience, desire is what got you here. Yours and the desire of your parents, whoever brought you into this world. And that it's through desire, understanding your desire, that you will unleash all of the wisdom, the cosmic wisdom that you innately were born with. But the only way for you to find it, remember it, know it, is through experience. So cosmically, you have everything that you have, and the life that you have in front of you is unlocking it for you. So stay close to the ground, but be as expansive as you can. Breathe into every corner, and whatever you push against, whatever pushes against you, opens you up to more wisdom. So this is the path, close to the ground and as wide as heaven. It's what it means to be human. You're the space between. Close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week till I see you again. I wish I had more time to chat with you, but I got to scoot off for Valerie to get on. Nice to see you, Michelle. I never see you.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
You're welcome. See you soon.
Hey, Steve.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, bye.